Have you ever heard a killer rock song and just thought, how did they even make that? You know, how does this simple guitar riff turn into this huge anthem that gets stuck in your head for weeks? Well, today we are pulling back the curtain and cracking open the studio's secret recipe to see exactly how it's done. Seriously, think about it. It's a pretty wild journey, right? From just a little spark of an idea to a fully polished track that's blasting out of your headphones. We're going to follow that entire journey every single step of the way, from the very first note recorded to that final radio-ready product. So, first things first, you have to capture the performance. This is all about getting the raw ingredients, the instruments, the vocals, recorded with the absolute best quality possible. You just can't build a great song on a shaky foundation. It all begins in a room that's like a perfectly quiet bubble. These special rooms, they're often called isolation booths, are totally soundproofed. Why? So that a noisy truck driving by outside or even the studio's own air conditioner won't leak into the microphone and ruin a perfect take. It's all about getting a totally clean recording to start with. This right here, this technology changed everything. See, before this, the whole band had to play the song perfectly all at once for a single recording. If one person made a mistake, everyone had to start over. But with multi-track recording, the drummer can lay down their part first, then the bassist, then the guitarist. It's like building with Legos. You can construct the song perfectly, piece by piece. So how do we actually capture those sounds? Well, with microphones, of course. But it is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Engineers pick microphones like a painter picks their brushes. For really loud, powerful stuff like a drum kit or a cranked-up guitar amp, they'll grab a tough, dynamic mic. But to capture every subtle detail in a singer's voice, they'll reach for a super sensitive condenser mic. Using the right tool for the job is absolutely crucial. Okay, so now we've got all of our instruments recorded on their own separate tracks, but here's the thing. If you hit play right now, it would just be a chaotic mess of sound. And that brings us to the next stage, mixing. This is where an audio engineer becomes sort of a master chef, skillfully blending all those individual ingredients into one powerful, amazing song. And this is the command center, the mixing console. I mean, it looks like a spaceship cockpit, right? All those faders and knobs give the engineer total control. Each one of those vertical strips controls a single instrument. From here, they can make the drums punchier, make the bass feel deeper, and make sure the vocals sit perfectly right on top of the music, clear and powerful. Now, one of the most powerful tools on that console is EQ, which stands for equalization. You can think of it like the bass and treble controls on your home stereo, but way, way more precise. It lets an engineer carve out a specific space for each instrument so they aren't all fighting each other for attention. For example, they can use it to make sure the kick drum and the bass guitar don't just blur into one big muddy mess. This is a perfect way to see how EQ works. Engineers can boost or cut very specific frequencies to shape an instrument's tone. For that classic rock sound, for instance, electric guitars often get a big boost right in the middle frequencies. We call those the mids. And that, right there, is the secret sauce that gives them that powerful, punchy sound that just cuts right through the rest of the band. Okay, here's a classic problem that comes up all the time in music production. A singer's performance is full of emotion, right? It goes from super soft to really loud and back again. If you just set one volume level for the whole thing, you'll either lose all the quiet parts or the loud parts will be totally deafening. So what do you do? Well, the solution is a tool called compression. You can think of it as an incredibly fast automatic volume controller. It turns down the parts that are too loud and boosts the parts that are too quiet, smoothing everything out so you can hear every single word. It's often called the glue that holds the mix together and gives it that polished, professional sound you hear on the radio. All right, so at this point, we have a clean recording and a nicely balanced mix. Now it's time for the really fun part, adding the magic spices that take a good song and turn it into an unforgettable one. This is where the artistry really starts to shine through. This amazing technique is called overdubbing, and this is where things can get really epic. A singer can record their main vocal, then go back and add layers and layers of harmonies to create this massive sounding chorus. Or a single guitarist can record a rhythm part and then overdub a soaring solo right on top. It's how one person can be made to sound like an entire army of guitars. Have you ever noticed how some songs sound like they were recorded in a giant arena? Well, that's reverb. It's an effect that creates a sense of space and atmosphere. Without it, recordings can sound very dry and kind of flat. Reverb adds depth and makes the music feel three-dimensional, almost like you're right there in the room with the band. And now for what is truly the heart and soul of the rock sound, distortion. That fuzzy, gritty, powerful tone is created by pushing a guitar amplifier to its absolute limits, on purpose. It's what gives rock music its energy, its attitude, and its edge. And a little fun fact, sometimes dialing in the absolute perfect distortion tone can be the longest part of a recording session. So who oversees all of this? Who's in charge? Well, that's the music producer. They're basically the director of a sonic movie. They help the band with everything, from the song's basic structure to getting the absolute best performance out of each musician. A great producer is the creative leader who helps shape an artist's vision into a final, hit-worthy track.
We are almost there. The song is recorded, it's mixed, and it's full of character. But there are a few crucial final steps we need to take to make sure it's ready for you, the listener.
You know, the heart of the modern studio isn't some giant console anymore. It's a computer running a digital audio workstation, or a DAW for short. This is the software that brings everything together. It lets engineers literally see the music as waveforms on a screen and edit with pixel-perfect precision, something that was just impossible in the old days of tape. And really, the difference is like night and day. Back in the day, editing meant you had to literally take a razor blade and physically cut the recording tape. One wrong cut, and that take was ruined forever. But now, with a DAW, it's as simple as copying and pasting text on your computer. This huge leap in technology made music production faster, way more creative, and accessible to a lot more people.
So the mix is finally done, but there is one last critical step: mastering. You can think of this as the final quality control check. A specialized mastering engineer takes the finished song and gives it that final bit of polish to make sure it's absolutely ready for release. So what does mastering actually do? Well, for one, it makes sure all the songs on an album have a consistent volume, so you're not constantly reaching for the volume knob. But more importantly, it makes the track sound powerful and clear, whether you're listening on tiny little earbuds, in your car, or on a giant concert sound system. It is that final professional shine that truly makes a track sound like a hit record.
And there you have it, the complete recipe for a rock anthem. From that first quiet note to the final polished master, every single step is about creating a powerful experience for you. So the next time you crank up your favorite song, listen a little closer. See if you can hear those layers of guitars, that splash of reverb on the vocals, or the punch of compression on the drums. I have a feeling you might never listen to music the same way again.